China. At around 9.6 million square kilometers, China is just a bit smaller than the United States by total land area. Climate ranges from tropical in the south to subarctic in the north. China's lowest elevation of minus 154 meters at Turpan contrasts the peak of Mount Everest on the China-Nepal border at 8,850 meters. Although most of China is covered by a mountainous biome, its large land area and wide range of elevation make it home to a temperate deciduous forest in the east, a desert in the northwest, a tropical dry forest in the southeast, and the temperate grassland in the northeast. China has the largest population in the world, with over 1.3 billion people. The population pyramid shows how China's population is distributed. China has approximately 12.25 births and 7.31 deaths per 1,000, making the growth rate very low, about 0.46%. The rate of infant mortality in China is 15.2 deaths per 1,000 births. The average life expectancy in China is about 75 years. The fertility rate is 1.55 births per woman. This is partly due to the one-child policy in China. This policy was changed slightly in 2013 so that two parents who had been only children could have two children together. The ethnic majority is Han Chinese, and only 8.5% of the population is made up of other nationalities. The total literacy rate is 95.1%. Major waterborne diseases that are common in China include bacterial diarrhea, hepatitis A, and typhoid fever. H1N1 has also been a problem in China. As far as natural resources go, China ranks at or near the top. Because of its large range of latitude, there are many different climates and as a result, many different resources. Having deposits of all 150 naturally occurring minerals makes China a major economic power. China also has a large coastal region, which enables them to produce millions of tons of salt every year, around a third of the world's salt, fish, and also more than 20 minerals, including petroleum, natural gas, iron, copper, and more. Due to the large population in China, there is a large demand for energy. China is number one in both energy consumption and energy production worldwide. Coal accounts for 70% of energy production, making it the primary energy resource. As of recently, China surpassed all countries as the primary producer of wind turbines and is on its way to also producing the most power via wind power. Hydroelectricity is also on the rise in China. China commissioned the largest hydroelectric dam, the Three Gorges Dam, in 2008. Agriculture in China is very diverse, ranging from production of main crops such as rice, wheat, and soybeans to cash crops like cotton, peanuts, tea, and sesame. Increase in agricultural production contributed to a tenfold growth in income per capita over the past 20 years. China faces agricultural challenges due to increased demands such as diminished arable land. Groundwater depletion in the key production areas of the north is a real concern, so major efforts are underway to try and divert water supply from the south to the north. Significant portions of China's water surface is also polluted for irrigation use on crops. 40% of China's arable land has been degraded by some combination of erosion, salination, or acidification, and nearly 20% is polluted. Additionally, researcher Jai Chen predicts urban population to grow by another 48 to 50% by the end of this decade. The People's Republic of China is a communist state with its capital located at Beijing. The current form of government has been in place since it was established by Mao Zedong in 1949. The National People's Congress, or NPC, represents the highest component of state power. The presidency consists of the president and vice president elected by the NPC. In practice, only Communist Party of China officials are elected or appointed to any state position. The Politburo Standing Committee leads the Communist Party and is arguably the most powerful political body in China. The party is in charge of all policies concerning the environment and economic development. This allows China to react to environmental issues quickly with no resistance from independent parties. The graph represents the accession of members of the current Politburo. Party leaders follow a predictable linear path to power as they work through the party organization. The gap between the rural populations and urban populations of China is very large because of the economic focus on urban businesses, which is 35.7% of the population's workforce. China makes up 1/5 of the global investments in renewable energy, totaling close to $300 billion, followed closely by the US. The renewable market in China was damaged badly when the US imposed a 31% tariff in efforts to decrease Chinese pollution. Air and water pollution constitute China's greatest environmental concerns. China's factories are outdated, inefficient technologies that release chemicals into the air and water. The air pollution problem spans China, but Beijing and Shanghai in particular have such poor air quality that many citizens choose to wear masks. New urban population growth and the increased use of automobiles threaten to counteract China's recent efforts to decrease air pollution. Industry benefits financially by paying pollution fines that are cheaper than the proper treatment of the 20 billion cubic meters of untreated wastewater that contaminates China's surface and groundwater sources each year. 6 heavily polluting industries: thermal power, iron and steel, petrochemicals, cement, non-ferrous metal, and chemicals will comply with international pollution standards. Coal-fired industrial boilers in 47 major cities and municipalities will also meet new regulations. Those in thermal plants are allowed a maximum of 50 milligrams per cubic meter of SO2 emissions, cut by half from the existing standards, while dust emissions will be limited to 20 milligrams per cubic meter, less than the international standard of 30 milligrams per cubic meter. New projects in thermal power, iron, and steel industries began compliance on March 1st, while existing projects will begin EU compliance between July 2014 and January 2015. Thank you for listening to our presentation.